Victorian Officiating Guidelines for 2017. According to Ed Stites, the guru and rules editor of the official basketball rules for the NCAA and a FIBA technical commissioner for over 32 years, defined a good example some 60 years ago as being these must possess these things: a knowledge of the rules, mechanics to work the game, the appearance and physical condition that's equal with the demands of the game, sound judgment, cooperation with his fellow or her fellow official, an air of confidence and calmness, consistency with calls. So clearly nothing has changed in those 60 years. It is our job to strive to achieve these attributes to every game in 2017. These officiating guidelines are based on Basketball Australia's guidelines for 2016-17. Protecting the ball carrier. The ball carrier must be allowed to bring the ball up the court without being manhandled. Fouls must be called if two hands are placed on the ball carrier. Fouls must also be called for defenders who place one hand on the ball carrier and do not remove it. Body checking, bumping or using their knees to move a player off their line must also be called a foul. A defensive player may not affect an opponent's freedom of movement. A foul shall be called if the offensive player is affected by hand or by body checking that interferes with the player's RSBQ. That's rhythm, speed, balance and quickness. If any of those are affected, then a foul should be called. Protecting the shooter. Any illegal contact on the shooter while in the act of shooting is a foul. Remember, referee the defense, but think like the offense. Ask yourself who caused the contact. Be careful of bailing out the shooter who initiates all the contact. If there is any doubt as to if the player is in the act of shooting, count the basket or give free throws. To clarify, a player is in the act of shooting when they gather the ball in a normal shooting motion. Charge block. Remember the 3 F's. Determine if the defender has feet on the floor, facing the opponent and in position first. Again, ask the question, who caused the contact? See the whole play and observe the point of contact. If it's down the middle and there is enough contact to warrant a call, call the charge. Move to get into a good position to observe the play. We want you to anticipate the play, but not the call. Referee the defense and think like the offense. Establish if the offensive player breaks the imaginary vertical plane of the defender. If not, and the player goes to the floor, decide it is incidental contact or consider it as a flop. The no charge semicircle. Remember, the purpose of the no charge semicircle rule is to not reward a defensive player who has taken a position under his own basket in order to draw a charging foul against the offensive player who is in control of the ball and is penetrating towards the basket. A player is considered to be inside the no charge semicircle when the defensive player has 1 foot or both feet in contact with the semicircle. No charge semicircle. Officials are reminded that the no charge semicircle rule only applies when the offensive player in control of the ball is airborne on an attempt to shoot or pass and is not illegally using his arms, hands, legs or body. If in doubt, officials are to consider that the defensive player is inside the circle and apply the rule as such. Verticality. A defender is allowed his space within his own cylinder from the floor to the ceiling. If a defender establishes a legal guarding position, jumps straight up with his arms not moving outside their cylinder, and contact occurs, it is usually incidental, no call. Protect the shooter, but still maintain a balance between offence and defence. Do not bail the offensive player out by calling an unnecessary foul on the defence. Flopping. When a player falls down to fake a foul in order to create an unfair advantage by having a foul called unjustly on an opponent, or to create an unsportsmanlike atmosphere amongst the spectators towards the officials, in other words, embarrassing the officials, such behaviour shall be considered as unsportsmanlike. There are too many examples of contact that surprisingly results in reactions not equal to the contact. We need to judge the severity of the contact and then ask the question, does it warrant a call? Observe the entire play. Do not get sucked in by a player going to the floor, emphasising contact that they did not receive. In other words, don't fall into rewarding the players who overemphasise contact. Flopping or faking should be penalised as follows. Call the obvious flop or fake as an automatic technical foul immediately on the player. Or issue at the next appropriate opportunity an official warning to the player with the official flopping signal, ensuring the warning is communicated to both the player and the player's coach. One warning is entitled to each team. Once a warning has been communicated, any additional flopping situations shall be penalised by the technical foul. Some may think this is a relatively new rule. However, in watching old NCAA instructional videos from nearly 60 years ago, the same examples were displayed with the same penalties being applied.
An effort by a player to simulate illegal contact, to try to make it appear he's been fouled, is a foul. If the official is certain this acting is intentional and meant to deceive, a technical foul is called.
Active shooting, or the continuation rule. Active shooting and continuous play needs to be a focus to ensure referees are consistent. Once an offensive player picks up the ball in his normal shooting motion, he is in the act of shooting. If he is fouled after picking up the ball and in his continuous motion he attempts to shoot a basket or successfully scores a basket, free throws must be awarded, or points counted and an additional shot awarded. Remember, there is no relationship between the number of legal steps taken and the act of shooting. If there is an element of doubt as to whether the player is in the shooting motion, count the basket or award the shots. Player-coach behaviour. There is often a concern that the image of the game is being tarnished by the behaviour of players and team coaches. All officials will be instructed to make a concerted effort to decrease the tolerance levels of officials regarding reactions by players and in particular coaches towards officials' decisions. Officials are requested to adhere to the following instructions and guidelines. At no time shall a player or coach disrespectfully address, react or contact the officials and/or the table officials. A player, coach, is no longer allowed an objectionable initial reaction to a call, which incorporates the following: any obvious or blatant verbal or non-verbal disputation of a referee's decision, any action that belittles or demeans a referee, any obvious non-verbal reactions which may incite the crowd, or any use of audible foul language or commentary on the game. Referees should not allow coaches to either enter the court or leave the team bench area except during a charged timeout to address the team, provided they remain within the vicinity of their team bench area. If they are attending to an injured player, or if they are courteously requesting a timeout or requesting statistical information from the score table. Referees should not allow any continuous questioning towards the officials or continual commentary of the game. Referees should also not allow assistant coaches or bench players rising to their feet to complain about referee decisions. Referees should not allow coaches to become the centre of attention with theatrical gestures and constant complaining. Referees are encouraged to try where possible to prevent from calling a technical foul by anticipating and reading the problem and consequently addressing the coach's behaviour before having to deal with it with a technical foul. Referees are encouraged to adopt the three-step approach. Step 1. Allow the coach to ask a question or have a polite word to you. Give the coach the respect, acknowledging you have heard their comments. Coach, I hear what you say, I will look at it. Okay, coach, you've made your point, that's it. It is so important that referees do not entirely ignore the coach, but respond and acknowledge you have heard their concern. If warranted, a quiet word is appropriate, possibly when you are at the trail official standing right in front of them. Step 2. If the coach decides to take it one step further, then a more stern verbal, visual and formal warning is appropriate. At an appropriate time, preferably during a stoppage in play, but if necessary, stop the play and give a warning that everybody knows that a warning has been given. Say something like, "That coach, that's enough. This is your formal warning. If you continue, we will have to deal with it." At the same time, give a visual signal, a stop sign, with your hand straight out in front, along with a stern facial expression. That "do not go any further" signal lets him and everyone else know you've had enough. Step 3, if the coach continues unheeded and runs through the stop sign, there is no option, he has earned a technical foul. Screening. Each player has the right to occupy a position on the court not already occupied by an opponent. That is, be the first to establish the position. Screening is an attempt to delay or prevent an opponent without the ball from reaching a desired position on the court. Officials are to ensure that screens are stationary with both feet on the floor and within their own cylinder if contact occurs. Officials are encouraged to eliminate screens where the backside and/or extended arms are used to cause the contact. Players who deliberately run through legal set screens should be penalised.
White 15 passes the ball to teammate 8 and sets a screen preventing red 5 from following white 6. White 15 sets a legal screen. He is stationary and the screen is set within the field of vision of red 5 in such a way that the defensive player is able to avoid the screen. However, red 5 runs over the screener and pushes white 15 with his left hand. No call. Wrong. Foul should be called on red 5.
Unsportsmanlike fouls. Unsportsmanlike fouls occur in 4 situations. These occur when a player contacts an opponent and in the judgment of the official, it is not a legitimate attempt to directly play the ball within the spirit and intent of the rules. It is excessive or hard contact caused by a player in an effort to play the ball. Contact by the defensive player from behind or laterally from the side on an opponent in an attempt to stop the fast break, and there is no defensive player between the offensive player and the opponent's basket. And the fourth one, contact by the defensive player on an opponent in the court during the last 2 minutes in the fourth period and in any extra period when the ball is out of bounds for a throw-in and still in the hands of the official or at the disposal of the player taking the throw-in. It's important that officials interpret the unsportsmanlike fouls consistently throughout the game and judge only the action. Also remember, a player shall be disqualified for the remainder of the game when he is charged with 2 unsportsmanlike fouls. In concluding, refereeing basketball is not an easy task. Players are athletic and the pace of the game is intense, making it difficult to control or even see everything that happens. A referee's greatest asset is consistency, which is what we should all be striving to achieve. We never stop developing. Use all of the resources available to you to help you improve. There are many parts that go to make up our great game. Refereeing is one of them.